And welcome back to the Delaware Boys Nights Football Podcast. Ryan, say what's up to the people, baby.
What's going on, folks? Glad to be back on the podcast. A little over a week last time you saw us, but glad to be back on. Well, like you know, we're running a little bit behind on our off-season work. We might have waited a little bit too long, but 3 weeks away from the start of the kickoff, we are starting to review divisions. Don't know if we're going to get through all of them before the season starts. We're going to do our best. But tonight, we are starting with the AFC East.
We're going to get them done, baby. No question about it.
Let's go.
First off, it's been a week since I've been here with you. What's new with you, man? How's your day? How's your week been? I know you guys have been busy over there on your part, preparing for a wedding and all that.
Always busy, dude. The wedding thing, once you think it stops, it just kicks back up again. So it is continuously ongoing. Planning a vacation here in the next couple weeks to New York, just to get away from the job for a little bit. And that's about it for us. Anything you got going on over there?
Hey, man, I had a hell of a day. Got my fresh haircut, and my grass is cut, boy. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I cut grass yesterday, man. Nice, dude.
It was a good day. AFC East preview. Oh man, I can't wait for this one. This is like the gauntlet. This division is going to be
crazy.
Brutal. It's going to be absolutely brutal. So the way we haven't done this for anybody for yards per, and I don't believe we've done this for RPO. So the way we do this, we look at it from a redraft and a dynasty standpoint, like who we want positional wise. We'll go through the positions here, talk about players you want to own in this division, talk about players you don't want to own, and then finally we give you our division winners. Yeah, we buy it, we peg it, and that's it. It's going to go on our banner, and we're going to list our division winners throughout here. And then every week when we get on, we're going to make our picks weekly, and we're going to keep our pick counter, and we're going to keep our overall record for the year. Last year, Ryan came in at an 84% win rate, number one out of me and him, and I came in at a 79% win rate. So if you're betting on anybody, follow Ryan's bet.
That's a little bit off. We were finalized. I was at 161, 93, and 2. So I don't think that's quite that high, but I did pretty good. I think I was at 61%, somewhere around there.
You were higher than that.
You were like 58, somewhere around there, but we had a pretty good year last year. I'm excited to do that now that we have a platform with yards per and RPO. And if you don't believe us, we have a Twitter that logged everything. We have podcasts to back it up. I'm excited to do it again. We had a lot of fun with it last year.
Yeah, let's jump into it, man. I got a couple quotes too when we jump into the teams. I got a couple of buddies here that are big AFC East fans. My buddy Jared is a huge Jets fan. He's so excited for the 2023 season, so I got a quote from him. Then I have another buddy, Marshall, who is also a huge Dolphins fan. So I'm ready to see. I'm ready to read these quotes. Yeah, I'm ready to read these quotes. But let's jump into it, baby. AFC East. I'll start with the Bills. Let's go down from perspective. Let's break it down. Let's talk about the AFC East divisional winner. Last 3 divisional winners, obviously, is the Bills. Where do you want to start here? I mean, I think you have to start with obviously the cream of the crop when it comes to the Buffalo Bills, that being Josh Allen.
Yeah, of course. I mean, do we have anything to worry about at all with Josh Allen? I mean, what, QB 1, 2 of the last 3 years? What, he was 2 last year? 3?
QB 1 3 years ago, QB 1 2 years ago, QB 2 last year. And remember, he did play with a sprained UCL. Thought he would have to get surgery. Didn't. I would say it negatively impacted his performance a little bit. The only thing I can talk about Josh Allen was a career high in turnovers last year, especially in the red zone. Obviously, that's not something you want to see from a real life perspective, fantasy perspective. It obviously didn't.
Doesn't matter.
It didn't hurt him a whole lot, but that's just something that I want to point out about Josh Allen. Turnovers were a career high last year, but same time he ran for 700 yards again.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to touch on too. That's the only thing that I'm kind of worried about going on the season. There's a little bit of talks right after the last season ended that coming into next season they're going to have him running a little bit less. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But I understand wanting to protect your franchise quarterback if they decide to go down that route. But I don't think it's slowing down. I mean, he's too big. He's got the ability to pick up those hard first downs with his legs. I mean, dude's massive. What, like 6'5"? He's a tank out
5'5",
there.
250.
Yeah, he's a tank out there in the field. So I know the Bills, like the office, kind of wants to see him run a little bit less. I don't think it's gonna happen though. That's the only negative thing I have to say about him at all.
Bro, let's just throw this crazy number out there to you. If you had to give a over under, how many weeks last year was Josh Allen QB1? Was a QB1 played as a QB1 out of 17 games?
I'm gonna go 6 games.
6.
6.
Try 13.
Last year
he was a QB1. Was a QB1 top 10 QB.
Okay. I heard the question. I thought you meant like QB1 overall.
Okay.
Oh,
no.
Okay. No, that makes sense then. Okay. All right.
13 of 17 games, he was a QB1. It's phenomenal track record. Josh Allen is who he is. It doesn't matter. The thing that scares me about the Buffalo Bills, let's be honest here. But I will say this. I like the addition of Damian Harris. I think that's a huge pickup, a nice north-south grinding running back.
We'll talk about him later.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? So that mix with James Cook, the only thing about it is I want to say James Cook only had, 30 catches last year?
Granted, he didn't see a lot of usage, to be honest with you. Right. So we went to see, like, what he's fully capable of. But, yeah, around, 30 catches, like 43 targets, somewhere in those numbers.
I'll give you the exact number. Sorry, it was 32 targets, 21 catches.
Okay.
I apologize. Number was a little off. But I do want to say the thing that a lot of people have James Cook pegged as a breakout, right? But James Cook's never seen 150 carries or more in his collegiate all the way to his NFL career.
Yeah.
To me, he doesn't stand out as that workhorse running back role.
Absolutely not. No.
And Josh Allen's never been one to be a huge check down guy. Last year, Devin Singletary had the most catches of his career, and it was only I don't want to lie on the number, but I believe it was less than 50. So let's chalk it up to what you want.
Right.
Where do you have James Cook ranked? Is he a running back 2 for you, running back 3 flex kind of mix?
Definitely for me, definitely a flex. I don't want him anywhere near my RB2 spot. I'm not a big believer. You touched on a lot of things, but just the fact that, like, I don't think he's ever really been used as a workhorse back. I don't know how long the Cook name can carry him in the NFL. I don't want to say that that's the sole reason why he's in the league, but I mean, it has something to do with the fantasy relevance. He's pegged this breakout guy, and some people are drafting as high as RB2 on their dynasty rosters and startups and feeling comfortable about it. I do not feel that way. I think Damian Harris here is here to take away a lot of those goal line touchdowns that he might see when Josh Allen is not rushing the ball in the red zone. Bringing in a power back with James Cook, I think all you really need to hear, at least as far as they believe him in the red zone, and stuff like that. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, to be honest, though, like, I know his volume is low, but he does have elite peripherals when it comes to yards per carry, the amount of broken tackles that he forces, things like that. It does stand out. I mean, it really does stand out. But like I said, limited volume. What does James Cook look like with 175 carries as opposed to 110? You know what I mean? Like, let's break it down here. I don't know if he can withstand to a full running back workload, to be honest.
Yeah.
I have him in the running back 3 territory. I do have him as the top 25 running back in Dynasty. I'm very curious about James Cook. I would buy at the right price. I'm very curious with his peripherals and how things stand out and his overall production here. Could be a valuable asset later in drafts and, like, as the right price. But I'm not going to sit here and beat around the bush. Zamir White was better at Georgia than James Cook.
It's true.
Let's not beat around the bush here.
Now, I don't want to completely take away James Cook. I don't want to walk these people to walk away and be afraid to own him. He does have upside. I mean, in this offense, he will 100% be the pass catching back. Damian Harris has never profiled as that guy. So, for what Allen decides he is going to dump off, Cook will be getting those reps. He'll definitely get more than 21 catches. He'll definitely get more than that this year.
Yeah,
They'll feature him. I kind of have him sitting like the same range, maybe like Rashad White type situation. Even though
yeah.
Rashad White's going to
I
have,
actually have Rashad White ahead of James Cook.
I mean, yeah, same. But I mean, that's kind of like ceiling we're looking at.
Okay, so would you rather own Monty or would you rather own James Cook?
I honestly, from a redraft standpoint, I would probably rather own Monty, but from a dynasty, since we cover mostly dynasty, I'd probably go James Cook.
Fair enough. So keep this rocking. Number one target, Stephon Diggs. Ever since he's come to Buffalo, he's been a wide receiver one. Trade Jefferson for Stephon Diggs straight up. It was a great trade for both. Buffalo has been on a winning streak for the last 3 years since he's been in Buffalo, going into year 4. Jefferson's the best wide receiver in football. Anyway,
Buffalo still got fleeced, but I still love me some Stephon Diggs.
What are your expectations for Stephon Diggs going into 2023?
I mean, I still expect him to be that guy. He'll probably still see 130, 140 targets, no problem in this offense. You did see a little bit of a fall off last year towards the end of the season, but I think that has more so to do with Allen's injury than it does with Diggs' skills. So I think you'll see him jump right back. Now, how much time he has left to be this prolific wide receiver one? Maybe 1 or 2 more. But yeah, I mean, just given like outside of Stephon Diggs, who do they really have as weapons? They bring in Dalton Kincaid, who's like this prolific tight end, but we don't really know how that's going to translate. And then Gabe Davis, who I've always felt like,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like when you look at this offense, outside of Stephon Diggs, who has a top 8 wide receiver ADP, you're now diving deep into the wide receiver too. You have Gabe Davis with a wide receiver 40 ADP. I mean, Isaiah McKenzie's wide receiver 65. And then you have a guy who I was excited to see play, but has only taken 2 snaps for the first team offense in preseason to this point, Khalil Shakir, not playing at all.
Right.
To be honest with you, you bring in this guy in the first round in Dalton Kincaid, who profiles as a prolific receiving tight end. Prolific. His peripherals, they're off the charts. He's an off the charts type of talent. Is there a real possibility that Dalton Kincaid can step in right away and see 80 targets?
It depends where they line him up. You still got to understand Dawson Knox is still there at tight end. I don't know how many 2 tight end sets they're going to run unless they kind of run Kincaid on like maybe in like the slot a few plays here and there. But I guess 80 targets not unachievable for him. It's just every rookie year for tight ends is always weird. I mean, it's hard to see 1,000. Kyle Pitts did it, but I mean, Kyle Pitts as a prospect was blowing me away way more than Kincaid was as a prospect this year. So the 1,000 yards I don't see, you can get around 80 catches in this.
I'm not even looking for 1,000 yards. I'm just saying 80 targets.
80 targets. Yeah, sure. My bad. I thought you said catches. Yeah, 80 targets is definitely realistic in this offense. Yeah, for sure.
Like I said, I'm only saying because Dawson Knox is a red zone threat. Let's chalk it up to what it is. He's a red zone guy. He lives in the 20 and in. That's what he is. Like I said, there's no other great pass catching wide receiver on this roster. People are going to try and sell you the Gabe Davis hype story again. He was going in the top 25 wide receivers last year. Bailed.
If y'all weren't here, we were bashing him last year, and we're going to continue to do it this year.
Massively.
Yeah.
Massive. Did not live up to the hype. It was bad. So now we're looking at as a wide receiver 40. That's a discount. It is a discount compared to what we paid last year.
Absolutely.
But other than Stephon Diggs, there's no pass catcher on this team I feel completely comfortable in owning.
Absolutely. And that's why I believe Diggs will end up being still that wide receiver one that you want on your roster.
Right. And if the Patriots weren't in this division, this might be the weakest wide receiver room in the division. So,
By
I
process
mean,
of elimination, yeah.
right. So, I mean, that's it. I mean, that's what covers me. If it's Josh Allen and it's Stephon Diggs and a dart throw on Dalton Kincaid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you have Damian Harris as a zero running back strategy that you really like.
Well, yeah, and I kind of touched on it earlier. I think he'll be the red zone guy. I mean, we've already had a scene get into double digits with the Patriots. I think he can get it done again this year, to be honest with you, depending on what Josh Allen rushes in the red zone. I mean, I know Josh Allen's a big threat. He can take away those touchdowns from Harris, but they said they kind of want to work them as like a split load in a couple places here and there. I kind of expect it to be that. If I'm
Right.
gonna like at price, I would rather have Harris than James Cook. I think they're like what 3-4 rounds apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that sounds about right. But all right. Let's jump into the most exciting team that's getting a lot of hype. Obviously, they're on Hard Knocks this year. Aaron and the Jets. Before we start talking, I did ask Jared today. I said, "Can you give me a quote to describe your excitement as a Jets fan for the 2023 season?" Jared says, and I quote, "My excitement is through the roof. The Jets have never had a quarterback of this caliber in my life. It's time to change the narrative and put us back on the map." At the end, Jets, 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 Jets.
hey, absolutely, man,
Yeah,
absolutely.
man, I'm excited for Jared. I'm very excited. This team overall as a NFL roster is a very, very good team. Very good team. Um, the only negative I have when it comes to this Jets team, is this offensive line is not that great.
No, yeah,
That's it.
kind of took the words out of my mouth on that one. I was going to lead with that, but
That's
hey,
it. And the thing that scares me about it is Rodgers at 40 does not move the way Rodgers did 10 years ago. It's just
no.
not the same. Um, but other than that, I mean, the way you win football games, the elite defense and the ability to chew and control the clock with an elite run game. I mean, when you look at it, this defense on the Jets side of the ball is young and they fly around the football. I love this Jets defense. They are nasty.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time talking about Jets defense as far as
No,
like a fantasy podcast goes, but I will say with that unit and having one of the better defensive minded coaches in the league in Robert Sala, I think he controls the defensive side and Aaron Rodgers can kind of chew away at the offensive side. I mean, that's not how it's really going to be, but you know what I mean? It's good to have that quarterback. Bringing in Aaron Rodgers is so huge for this team. It's such a big difference maker. Took a little bit to get him there, but they damn sure did it.
yep. And the thing was, is like he really proved he wanted to be there. I mean, he took a $35 million pay cut off his contract. It's huge.
Yeah.
Brought in additional pieces that he wanted around him. Um, Brees Hall not 100% healthy, obviously, towards ACL week 7. He is activated from the pup, but they do bring in Dalvin Cook on a pretty significant deal. It was $8.6 million. So I do expect Dalvin Cook to have a huge, sizable role in 2023, but I expect Brees to be back towards like week 8 in that range here, ready to rock. Um, what? So are you avoiding this backfield completely in 2023?
So that's our bad part is me and you both in the Warrior Bowl and in the Scott Fish Bowl. I think we both have Brees rostered, so it hurts. Now
I
if
don't have
I'm,
Brees rostered, not in the Scott Fish.
you're right. You're right. My bad. That's just me.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's
I'm projecting. But yeah, no. If I would have known that when I was drafting Brees Hall in the second round, last in Scott Fish, or excuse me, third round Scott Fish, probably wouldn't have done it. It scares me. The fact that they're bringing in Dalvin Cook shows me that Brees isn't as ready as they may be thinking. And on top of that, even when he comes back, it's like, are they going to split it? Is like Dalvin Cook going to take the less when Brees Hall is back? Like, say what you want about Dalvin Cook. He's getting older, blah, blah, blah. He still looked good last year. I'm kind of avoiding it now, especially these redrafts that I've been doing recently. I don't want to touch it. It scares the shit out of me.
I mean, I personally agree. In Dynasty, you have to hold Brees Hall willingly, like strong hold. Like it is what it is. He's 22 years old, guys. Like you have 7 games in the NFL under his belt. Like relax.
Yeah.
This is just a move. This is a championship roster move. This is
Mhm.
what you this is necessary for championship teams. Brees wasn't going to be 100%. We never expected Brees to be 100%. So please remember that. In the second half of the year, if you see Brees Hall go off for the 17 points per game he scored last year or more, don't be don't be surprised. This is Brees Hall. This is like a generational type talent when he came out of Iowa State. So please just be patient with him in Dynasty. Redraft, avoid it. Avoid it
Right.
completely because his ADP is not going to fall off enough to where you're going to feel comfortable owning Brees Hall
Yeah.
or Dalvin Cook. Now, the first 7 weeks, Dalvin Cook could be a fucking league winner.
Hey, that's not going to win you championships, though. What you really need
first
is
7 don't
Brees
win
on
you.
the back end. But if you okay, so a lot of people have been kind of drafting him as this RB1 in Dynasty. If you own him as a Dynasty manager, what's your panic level for like this year alone? Are we at like
Brees
threat
Hall?
level midnight?
Brees Hall?
Yeah, Brees Hall. Yeah.
You're talking about just my Dynasty rosters.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have him rostered, so I can't really speak. I mean, I wish I did have him rostered, but I don't.
Where he's 0.
Zero? Not worried about it? Okay.
No, it's Brees.
I was just
1 year
curious.
deal.
That's not like a
1 year
shot
deal.
at anybody. I'm just like trying
No.
to get a gauge here.
No, not at all. Brees Hall is still top 3 Dynasty running back. No question.
Gotcha.
He's
Makes
got,
sense.
he's got 7 games under his belt. Let's relax.
All right, now we covered the running backs. Now just get into the wide receivers. Garrett Wilson has been absolutely flying up boards. With Aaron Rodgers, do you see him finishing as a top 10 wide receiver this year?
Yep.
No question.
Nope.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Dude, I mean, like, if you look at who's on this roster, Lazard, Corey Davis, Randall Cobb. I mean, the thing is like we're talking about a Randall Cobb. We're not talking about 2014 Randall Cobb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy who's in his mid-30s now, who's just there to be a veteran leader, a veteran piece. Lazard's going to be an outside option. Lazard and Corey Davis are the same type of receiver. You know what I mean? But Corey Davis was a top 5 overall pick. Like, I don't know what you want from me. They talked about cutting Corey Davis. I don't know. When Rodgers finds a guy and he loves that guy, he locks in. That's his guy. Garrett Wilson saw 147 targets from one of the worst QB rooms in football last year.
Yep. Okay.
Now, pace of play is going to determine this. Robert Saleh and his play calling is going to be huge. It's going to be a huge deterrent or a huge positive when it comes to Garrett Wilson's usage. If Garrett Wilson sees 160 targets from Aaron Rodgers, sign me up. Sign me up.
I mean, if you can promise me 160 targets to any receiver, sign me up.
I mean, we've seen him and Devontae click like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
The thing is like it took Devontae a couple years to get rolling before he saw his first 1,000-yard season in the NFL. Not that guy. Not number 17. Not number 17 in New York. Not that guy.
Garrett Wilson at 17 too. So all he has to do is keep looking for 17.
That's what I'm saying. Garrett Wilson is just one of those like generational type receivers. Like you can see it in his gameplay. You can see it in his footwork. You can see it in his speed off the line of scrimmage. You can see how he plays versus man, plays versus the zone. He's comfortable in all areas of the field. He's just one of those guys that you're like, that's my guy.
Give me that
He's
guy.
one of those guys. So if he's in Dynasty, he's already priced behind AJ Brown at wide receiver 5. Some people have him ahead of AJ Brown.
Yeah.
I don't. I personally don't, but I think rightfully so, he deserves to be priced where he's at. He's going to be one of those guys you get and he's a league winner. That's what kind of player Garrett Wilson is.
I'm for it. Yeah. Here's my, you kind of touched on it yourself. Here's my whole thing with it is like They signed Dalvin Cook. They know Brees is coming back. You talk about like this great defense. All they really have to do is just take care of the football. You don't think like the threat of them just rushing the ball down people's throats is gonna deter, like not allow Garrett Wilson to get to that 160 number? It ends up in like 140, 150 range. Like I'm not saying that's bad, but like
He had 147 last year, and he had over 1,100 yards.
true.
Let's be honest here. And the QB play between Zach Wilson, Mike White, and Joe Flacco,
A
like
lot better.
a lot. You know,
10 times better.
we're head and shoulders above it, bud. We're talking about Hall of Famer to
First
Mike
ballot.
White, first ballot to Mike White. We're off a lot.
Mike White was first ballot for one game though.
Joe Flacco did throw the ball 59 times in a Jets game last year.
A couple of times. A couple of times.
So what? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see Aaron Rodgers only throw the ball 30 times this year, 35, you know, there's obviously games where he's going to go into shootouts. Bills game is going to be one of them.
Oh yeah. I mean, in his own division. Yeah.
Right. The Dolphins game is going to be another one. There's a lot of high scoring games that are setting up in the AFC. You don't play anybody in the AFC. Most teams in the AFC have top 10 offenses. This AFC is loaded. AFC is loaded. So I think Rodgers is going to throw the ball. I think you'll see Rodgers throw the ball 500 plus times.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, they got to bring him in for a reason, right? Yeah, sign me up. I'm on Garrett Wilson hype train as well. I own none of them. No, I own him on one team, and I've been trying to buy him in others, but no, not possible.
You haven't tried to get him for me.
That's about the dumbest thing I can do.
Oh man, I do want to have a conversation with you once we're done talking about all the teams here. But let's get into Marshall's quote here. Marshall has a very strong stance, which I actually do not hate it.
Oh God, I know. Yeah, you are with the Dolphins. Here we go.
Marshall says, and I quote, Tua's O-line protection will determine whether or not the Dolphins succeed and if his days training in the dojo really will benefit him when taking hits. If he stays healthy, don't be surprised to hear Tua's name for MVP contention.
Oh,
We're already injury-stricken this offseason, so that will keep happening throughout the season, though. Let's just see how this all plays out. But let's be honest. Tua comes in last year as QB8 in fantasy points per game. Over 18.5 points per game scored. The biggest question mark is the 17 games played. There's no question that this dude can play. No question. Wrong.
He had me in the first half. I'm not gonna lie. He was saying all the right things until I heard MVP. There are about 5-6 candidates I wouldn't even question before I got to his name.
It comes down to this. A great play caller. Mike McDaniel is a great play caller.
Agreed.
He has a top 3, and I don't care if you pick Chase Higgins, AJ Devontae, or this duo right here. Waddle and Tyreek are the most explosive 1-2 in the NFL. No question. Look at Tua's deep ball accuracy last year. Look at his yards per attempt last year. It was the highest in the NFL. 25-8 touchdown interception ratio with 13 games played. Tua, look at his receiver production. Look at Waddle's production. Look at the drastic fall off when he's not playing. Look at Tyreek and when Tua's not playing with Tyreek. The numbers stand out. Tua is a difference maker on this Dolphins team, and Tua is the engine that makes it go. Tua played at an elite level last year. No question.
Yeah, I mean, I rostered him on a few leagues last year, and when he was on the field, he is great. But I've been saying this all offseason. I'm going to continue to say it. I think he's like 1 or 2 bad concussions away from not picking up a football ever again. I mean, you saw what happened to him last year. He had 2 severe, really bad concussions.
Right.
And you kind of wonder like how long does that go on for? I mean, I guess you don't have to worry about this season in particular, but from a dynasty standpoint, I don't know, man. It scares the shit
But my
out of me.
question to you is, and my question to you is this: me and you aren't medical professionals by any means, so
No,
I'm not gonna pretend to be. But the way the Dolphins training staff handled his concussion issues last year was a serious problem.
not good.
There's
Yeah,
no way after the Cincinnati game should he have been on the field the next week.
not even close.
So why are we blaming Tua to this fullest extent? You know what I mean?
I mean, it's not really Tua. Concussion is just a product of playing football. I'm
Right.
not
That's what
saying
I'm
like
saying. But
he's concussion.
if you're being mishandled by your medical staff as well, that has to go into it as well. Correct?
True, but what's stopping Tua from going out there and saying, "Hey, like I feel like maybe I shouldn't, like maybe I don't want to play this game."
I don't know. Maybe my head feels like Jello. I'm scrambled. Can't see anything straight. You know what I mean? I'm seeing three receivers when I'm throwing the ball to one guy. I don't know, something.
That's what I'm saying. What's stopping? I mean, it goes both ways because I feel like there's definitely a world in which he can say, "Hey, staff, like I'm not ready to be back
Right.
out there again."
But I will tell you this. In his QB ADP for Dynasty and redraft, he's a buy. Across the board, he's a buy. Redraft going as QB 12, Dynasty QB 14. Absolute buy.
I'll buy that. Yeah, that's not bad. I actually don't really mind the ADP. I mean, like you said, he was what at number 8. I could kind of expect that to fall, but he'll definitely be above the 12, 14 range.
18 and a half fantasy points per game last year.
Yeah,
More
that's
than
fine with
T-Law.
me.
More than T-Law.
I do
T-Law,
expect that. I do expect that to change.
saying more than T-Law last year.
Yeah.
So this team obviously led by a three-headed monster. I'll let you talk about Tyreek. I'm going to talk about Waddle because I'm not listening to this.
You want me to cuddle? I'm sure you're just tired of me talking about Waddle, so I'll let you have your
Yeah,
time with
I
Waddle.
really am tired of
Yeah,
talking.
yeah. I just won't comment on Waddle this time. I'll give you your free pass, but nah, like Tyreek saw his most productive season at receiver in his whole career without Mahomes. So I think that's a testament to one, McDaniels, and two, Tua, to make this happen. I mean, they're using him exactly the way he's supposed to be. He is an absolute freak on the field. And I could expect him to continue to be that way until he decides he's going to retire. I mean, people worried about his speed falling off or anything like that. Just go look at Deshaun Jackson. As old as Deshaun Jackson is, he's still out there flying at the same speed he was when he was 28, 26, whatever you want to call it, whatever his prime was. I love Tyreek Hill, and he's the receiver I want to own in this offense. In redraft, maybe not Dynasty. I'd probably still lean Waddle in Dynasty, but in redraft, I don't think it's particularly close. Give me Hill.
I speak from a redraft and a dynasty perspective here when I say this. Jalen Waddle is a beast, absolute monster. You're going to have one of the biggest Waddle stands talking to you. So Jalen Waddle, obviously, 4 games without Tua, numbers were negatively impacted. But with Tua, we were talking about about 7 looks a game, 5 catches, over 85 yards, and he had more touchdowns than Tyreek Hill last year. So, year 1 played more towards the line of scrimmage. Year 2 gets to expand his game, obviously over 18 yards per catch. Obviously, Ryan will talk to you about that. That's not a number that comes as like a substantial number that we can hit every year from year in, year out. But I still expect the explosiveness from Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill to be there for both of them. Can you expect over 15 yards per catch? Probably from both of them. That's what kind of receivers they are. They're 2 of the fastest receivers in the game. And when it comes to Jalen Waddle, like I said, it all comes down to 2 of 17 games played. That's what you bank on with Jalen Waddle. 85 yards a game from any receiver is a phenomenal number. It's an astronomically high number. That's a number that you're willing to bank on for 17 games. You're talking about Jalen Waddle having over 1,400 yards. Touchdowns are an iffy number. I can't predict touchdowns, but at the same time, it's the best quality of target. I obviously would rather have Tua throwing the ball than Skylar Thompson. Jalen Waddle's ADP comes in at wide receiver 11 in redraft, wide receiver 7 in dynasty. Buying them both. Always have, Flag is planted on Jalen Waddle, Mr. Oswald Cobblepot.
I was a huge Waddle guy until his price just kept skyrocketing, and then once the price started skyrocketing, I'm like, okay, at this point, I'm back out. But
I already have a bet with you.
yeah,
Top
I
10 wide
mean,
receiver. Doesn't even matter.
I'll stand out, and I will stand on that hill if
I can't remember what the bet was. Top 10 wide receiver for what? I can't remember what the bet was.
50 beans.
Whatever. Don't even matter. Don't even matter. But they're monsters. They're actually.
I mean, I think they probably are the best duo. I mean, I don't think either one of them are better than Chase or Jamar. I mean, excuse me, Jesus Christ, Chase or JJ. But like the two of them
Are they
combined?
Is Tyreek? That's tough because like now you're talking about from a whole other different type of receiver. But dude, Tyreek Hill has to be in the top 3 wide receiver conversation. Like you know what I mean? He is. But where's Devontae Adams? You know what I mean? But this is for a whole other
You got Devontae Adams, JJ, Tyreek, and Chase are probably my and Cup. I mean, we're in a pretty wide receiver dominant.
But I think 1-2 wise, I think these guys have a legit case to be one as the wide receiver top duo in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you want to argue AJ Brown, or if you want to argue AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, or Chase and T Higgins, by all means, I don't care. Argue it how you want. But I will tell you this: they are the most explosive.
Definitely.
God damn it, they are the most explosive one too. Not even a question.
They're most explosive by far, and I think they're the best. Me personally, I don't know. I'm not a lover of Waddle, but Waddle, their two skill standpoints, like I don't know. The only one that you can argue close to is AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. I don't think T Higgins is good enough to like get anywhere close to making up the value between Chase and you know what I mean. I don't know. Just give me they're the best duo in the league, especially fantasy standpoint. Say what you want about real life, but in fantasy speaking alone, they're the best duo in the league.
So you lose Mike Gesicki, so obviously nobody here that stands out to me as a perennial buy, like Cedric Wilson. The running backs, how are you picking the running backs? Honestly, for 2023, I have Raheem Mostert leading the backfield. That's just me. Obviously, injuries are a thing when it comes to Raheem Mostert. A lot of people are thinking Devon Achane is going to get some huge run here. I don't mind the pick. I really don't mind the pick. But he's not a guy, and I told you this, he's not a guy that I'm going out to buy in Dynasty at a, you know what I mean, at a like I have to have him. He's not one of those guys.
Right.
To be honest, in Dynasty, I'm avoiding this backfield in general, unless the rumors are true and Miami makes a play at JT. That's it.
I'm not coming anywhere near this backfield. I will not drop any of them. I don't want to play the lottery. I'm good. I think if anything, they're run as like a trio of running backs, and they were kind of rotated in and out. I don't think that anyone's going to be a workhorse. I think there'll be a revolving door. And you can't depend on any of them, and I don't like that in fantasy. If I can't point my finger at one guy and say he's the guy, I'm not touching it.
I do have Raheem Mostert on my Scott Fish and my Warrior Bowl team. So
not a bad late value though. I will say,
he is the guy.
Late round just dart throw. Raheem is not a bad one.
Yeah, he's the guy I have pegged to lead this backfield in 2023. But that's about it. So, last team, the most unexciting team would be the New England Patriots.
With the ugly duckling?
Oh. The ugly duckling. Well,
before we say anything, is this like the first season, I think, and maybe in our lifetimes, where we can look at the Patriots and say they're definitely the worst team?
I think you could have said it last year.
Okay. Well, Jets. That's why I asked. Jets were pretty bad last year too.
They were, but I was just due to the QB play. They had things that stood out. Like their defense was. I mean, granted, the Patriots' defense is always good, but
yeah.
I mean, to tell you that the Patriots haven't been the favorites in the AFC East in how long? I mean, Brady and them won 18 AFC East titles together. Something stupid. Yeah. But so Last year, Mac Jones struggled mightily. Mightily. Was also injured as well. What are your expectations for Mac Jones going into 2023?
I like to have him on my bench as not a bad QB3. Don't want him anywhere near if you're in a super flex, and you definitely don't want him as a QB1. I don't have a high expectations. I know we've had conversations recently about him kind of succeeding in preseason, and I see it. I mean, yeah, sure, but it's going to be a different ball game, especially in this division. He's got to throw the ball a lot. I mean, you got cornerbacks like Sauce in here. You have to face 2 times a year. I would say Ramsey, but didn't he just have a season-ending injury?
No, he's only out for the first month.
Okay. Well, you'll see Jalen Ramsey as well. See what you want. He's gotten older, washed up. Sure. He's still a great corner. I don't know what to expect of Mac Jones. I mean, I think this is very much so his prove it year. But what does he really have to produce with? I mean, you got what?
Juju, baby. Juju. Devontae Parker, baby.
Parker. I don't.
Taekwon.
No, he doesn't have anything to work with, and that sucks. And you don't have a great coach like Brian Daboll.
I'll be honest with you, though. Honesty, all 100% honesty. I'm telling you, at the tight end position, I am making a dart throw on Mike Gesicki. No question. He's probably the most athletic guy in the skill position unit here. That dude, I mean, 6'6", 250, athlete out of Penn State. Always has been an athlete. I like Gesicki. I think he's better than Hunter Henry, and it's not a question.
You know what's crazy? I would have said before that Ramondre would be the only one I want to own, but they just brought Zeke in. Now I don't even want to know if I really want to own Ramondre. So now I'm to the point where, do I even want to own anybody in fantasy on this offense, period? I know you're still in on Ramondre.
Yeah, why not?
But you got to think, they didn't bring
There's 146 vacated carries from Damian Harris.
You say that. And then, what? Then he even had games last year as a Ramondre Stevenson owner last year where he had games where he kind of, disappeared.
He finished running back 7.
He still had those games where he fell off, especially back end of the season when you're looking at these championship games. I had it happen to me. He was a workhorse in the first 13 weeks. Playoffs come around, and he's farting around in this offense, not doing much of anything.
So I will say this. He had 7 games last year. He was a running back 1. 7. For a running back, those numbers, it's a little bit different when it comes to the QBs. You're talking about a guy who played at an elite level, had almost 5 yards per carry last year. A guy who had almost 70 catches last year. Do I expect some fall off with the Zeke pickup? Honestly, I'm not really worried about Zeke. I've told you that. 146 vacated carries are coming in, for Zeke. We're talking about a 28-year-old Zeke who his body has been through the ringer. Through the ringer. This guy looks slow and old in Dallas, and he showed you that he was slow and old. And
yet, he still produced.
It's a touchdown thing. But we're talking about Ramondre who only scored 6. We're talking about a Ramondre who only scored 6 total touchdowns last year. I'm not worried about the touchdowns. That's not what I'm saying. Ramondre's still going to have his usage. He's still going to get the ball. He's still the number 1 fantasy option in this offense. That's what it is.
I agree with that.
So yeah, you're taking Ramondre in ADP when it comes to redraft at probably what, running back 9, 10?
Don't love that.
I'm saying before the Zeke pick, where was he going?
Right.
9, 10?
Yeah, around that area. Yeah.
Maybe you get a little bit of a discount. He goes running back 12. Running back, he's still going to be he's still going to finish as a top 12 running back.
I mean, that's not hard to say given the state of the running backs and injuries that come in. If he plays a full 17, that top 12 is not out of his range.
So what are you worried about? What are you worried about?
I don't know. Well, one, this offense, on paper, if I can look at it right now, Mac Jones probably is going to get much better. Like, what are we expecting points per game out of this team? Like, how many touchdowns are we really scoring a game? Like, and then what's Zeke's workload going to look like in the goal line situations? Like, it's going to be Zeke
I
getting
told you,
these.
146 carries is what he's vacated. He's probably going to see less than 146 carries. Zeke is washed. It's
How many of those are going to be in the red zone? That was my thing. Like, how many of those?
That's a great question. That is
You
a
know what I mean?
great
Like,
question.
that's where they're going to use them. They're going to use them in these short yard situations. At least that's the way I kind of like see this going. Because Ramondre is definitely a talented running back. The touchdowns scare me. That's the thing. Like, what are we? I don't know. I don't really project this Patriots offense to be great, especially with two good running backs in the backfield. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but I don't really expect this team to score even 20 points a game this year, to be honest with you.
No, they're a middle pack. They're a middle pack offense last year. It's just going to come down to volume. Ramondre is literally going to be volume based. That's all it is. Like I said, he played an elite level last year, over almost 5 yards per carry and almost 70 catches. Like, how many running backs do that? Not many.
Not many.
Not many.
Not many. Not
But-
many. That's the touch. It's just the touchdowns for me.
And he produced, and his touchdowns. He scored 6 total touchdowns last year. He scored 6. And I guarantee you, he's not going to score many less than 6.
Hey, this is true. This is true. Maybe I'm just a little bit snake bit. He cost me a championship. I mean, I was cruising in one league, and he did not do anything in playoffs. So maybe I'm projecting a little bit, but
yeah, you're definitely projecting. You're definitely you're definitely acting. You know, that's just what you're doing.
No, but I mean, I feel like my concerns are justified outside of me being fucked by Ramondre.
All right, man. I do want to do a thing. Let's do like our QB power rankings. I have Josh Allen 1 in fantasy, obviously, when it comes to that.
Let's see if this has any type of. I think we're going to have the same order. But
yeah, I think obviously Mac is number 4 for me. But who do you have at 2 and 3? Because I have Tua at 2, Rodgers at 3.
We talking redraft or dynasty? Because they can flip flop drastically either way.
I'm talking both.
We're talking. Give me.
Tua has a better year than Aaron Rodgers this year.
Can't get behind that.
Tua.
Listen, Rodgers is much more skilled guy. I think for Tua to do better than Rodgers, Tua's gonna have to do some rushing.
Tua will outscore Aaron Rodgers in fantasy football this year.
We're not making another bet on this.
I'm just saying, Tua will outscore.
So we got the same order. We're just flip flopped on Rodgers and Tua.
Yeah, I think
I think it is close, and I could definitely see the argument both ways for this. I don't think they may be split by about this much.
Let's we need to get a board for like our takes board for the year, because this is on our division. I have 2. You know, I mean, obviously I have Ramondre finishing as a top 12 running back. You're a little iffy on it, so I would put it on there. But I have Tua outscoring Aaron Rodgers this year in fantasy football.
I mean, like I said, if Tua's rushing the ball more than I think he does, more than I expect him to, I think it'll easily be Tua. But if Tua's just in the pocket throwing, give me Rodgers. Rodgers got the better pure arm. I think is just a better quarterback. I mean, I have Aaron Rodgers probably top 3 QBs all time. So hands up. Bo doesn't turn the ball over.
Tua outscores Aaron Rodgers in fantasy football this year.
I don't think that's particularly like a hot take in the community. I feel like most people would probably agree with that. I just love Aaron Rodgers. Straight up.
I hate that bastard.
I love Aaron Rodgers.
Lastly, it comes down to this. Let's pick our division winner. Let's do it.
So this might actually be an interesting year. I'm still taking the Bills. I think it'll be a lot closer this year. This is going to be a very competitive division. The Bills might only win the division by 1 game, but I still think they're going to pull it out of the water.
Like I said, I'm going to take the team. Obviously, the only thing that worries me is the ability to mesh as a unit. How much leeway is Robert Saleh going to give Aaron Rodgers? I think a lot. Obviously, it's a Hall of Fame QB.
A lot.
give me the team with the best overall projected run game and the best defense in the division. I'm taking the Jets to win the division.
See, I would normally if you ask me next year, is Rodgers there next year too?
2 years.
2 years.
I mean, but he can retire in a year.
He'll be. I think the Jets have a better shot to win the division next year. I think it might take a little bit, like you said already, for this really to click in. So with that being said, give me the Bills still. I think they're a powerhouse. I think McDermott's a great head coach. I think Josh Allen's one of the most elite. Well, is it one of the better QBs in the entire league? Waiting on the MVP though. Waiting on the MVP for Josh Allen.
Rodgers got 4 of them bad boys.
Rodgers got 4 of them things comfortably.
So give me, like I said, give me the best defense and give me the best overall projected run game in the division. That's how you win games. That's how you win big games, big time moments, especially when it comes into November and December. Yep. Give me the Jets. Write it down, baby. You got the Bills. I got the Jets.
Put it down on the ground. What we really need to do is just comment, make little notes underneath these videos that we post. I think this is probably the best way to do this.
It's fine. Don't mean nothing to me.
Don't mean nothing to me, baby.
Don't mean nothing to me. So that wraps up AFC East coverage. It's always a great time to get in here and do this. I have fun breaking down these divisions. This is the gauntlet. This division is going to be rough.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be brutal.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be brutal. If you're a Dolphins, Jets, or Bills fan, it's going to be a great year. 2023 is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I think all 3 of them probably make playoffs.
Madden cursed too. Josh Allen cursed.
Madden curse is gone. It hasn't existed for the last 4 years.
But on that note, Ryan, man, it's time to get out of here, buddy.
That's it, baby boys. Glad to have us on. I'm excited to get in these divisions, man. I hope we get to knock them all out. I have a lot of fun on these. This is one of our more laid back podcasts. Thank you for joining in, and glad to be back. We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah. Again, yards per RPO. Thank you for the platform, everybody. If you tuned in to watch this divisional breakdown, we appreciate it. Next week we switch to the NFC East, baby. Another fun one. On that note, guys, we are out.